No, I mean, there's not really much more you can say other than I actually like the idea of the international break when it first comes along and your goalkeepers drop the ball. Or not drop the ball, he's missed the bounce. Like, I'm sitting there going, get away from me for 2 weeks. Leeds United, get out of my house.
Yeah, exactly, Hammer. Yeah. Yeah, look, only won 2 games so far, and both times had a break straight after. Yeah, not good for West Ham.
It's a momentum killer. But do you think you're going to be all right? Like,
Yeah, I do believe we will be. I think it's, pardon the pun, it's still early doors. He's tinkered around quite a bit. Looking at the Ipswich game, with that, as long as he can keep that kind of that kind of momentum going, then I think we'll be fine. It's still early in the season, but I think it's now. This break gives him an opportunity to work on what happened from the Ipswich game, and let's see if he can build on from that. Because I think that's the key thing. If he doesn't do that, if he tinkers again, then I think there's going to be some serious questions asked.
Do you think go back a month? Do you think having the international break so soon after the end of the transfer window is harmful to clubs?
Yeah, definitely. Because what's the point? If you take it from West Ham's point of view, you got to think we signed nearly 10 players, and then you've got to try and get them to that team to gel, or even the squad, shall I say? And then you have a break straight off.
Yeah,
it's just kind of. I think for any team, it was weird to have it so early. I suppose the kind of positive side to that is if you get any injuries that early in the season, you've got a chance for them to recover quickly. So when you go back to the domestic football, you're fine. But I don't know, to have it so early, it just seems it's unusual.
no, I agree, but like a common thing that I hear about, and not defending the national break per se, but when people say like, "Oh, they should just do it at the end of the season," it's like, well, when do you do the World Cup? Like, you have to play these matches, like not necessarily the friendlies, like that. That's not true. Those are money spinners. They're the sort of games you play when Wembley needs to be paid for, sort of thing. Like I get that.
Yeah,
but like, what are people suggesting that you play the World Cup qualifiers and then the World Cup the next summer kind of thing? It's like it's unsustainable as well, because then when are your players actually going to get a break?
They're not, are they? That's the key thing. Funny, we were saying before, you've got to think if you do well in the cup competitions, plus in the league, plus obviously the qualifiers, for some of these players, they're not going to have no break really, and they're going to be burnt out before you know it. And where does it stop? Because you look at the Champions League format now, the amount of games you've got to play in that.
That's such nonsense. That Champions League, it's like my favourite thing of it was the favourite meme I've seen of it is when they showed the table in full and then Spurs were still at the bottom because it's Spurs. I know you're there, Daniel. I know you're there. It's called bait, mate. Bait. Anyway, just reeling one in nice and early. How you doing, Dan? How you doing? Is it Dan or Daniel? I don't know. But still, he's an all right guy, probably.
He is. Daniel's all right. Dan's all right. He's a good bloke.
Yeah.
And I see, obviously, like as you say in there, the international break. Expect a reaction from West Ham. We should do. He said, "Look, you're not going to get a reaction from him." Plus, what's Nick put there? West Ham facing Tottenham next. Your prediction? Ooh.
Hang on, sorry everyone. Sorry everyone. I'm Finger the Duck is having a word in my ear, and it's basically going, we've got someone else in the background. We've got someone in the background who's baying to come in, like he's salivating, like he's actually salivating to get in here and talk about.
I'm not salivating.
No, that's what people do to be in your presence, John. Oh, look who it is.
Oh, hey.
Saliva coming out of his mouth. He's going, oh, I'm trying one my Arsenal. Anyway, it's Marcelo Bielsa holding a grenade. But we're not getting fancy over our shirts tonight. I'm just saying.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tony. How's it going, guys?
All good. Yourself?
Yeah, that's about
Good to
So,
hear.
Alonso, have you wrote your Christmas list for Santa yet?
I have not, unfortunately.
If you was to write a list, what would you ask Santa for right now?
Realistically, Tom, a PlayStation 5.
I wasn't expecting that. Sorry, I had. Let me dip into my list that I pre-prepared. So I had a pre-prepared list that I thought you was going to say during all this. Sorry. We've got. Oh no, that's too No, I can't say that. Can't say that one. He wants to spend how much on a what? Sorry, that's not PG. Anyway, what we got there? So your boy Saka is injured.
Yeah, I saw that, and it was against Greece. And I didn't see the match. I was at work, but I think it kind of comes at an unfortunate time where he's been playing so well, being a playmaker that he's become. It seems like year to year we depend a lot on Saka, and I haven't heard on how long he's been out for. However, I think we have a quality backup in Sterling just in case he does get hurt. We already lost Odegaard for a long period of time. So yeah, it's quite concerning if you're an Arsenal supporter. And from what I've heard, they're gonna reassess him. I guess when he comes back from wherever he's been playing. But yeah, again, this brings up an issue. If you're an Arsenal supporter, why do we constantly send our big name players to play for their countries, seeing how we've already uh, lost two of our biggest stars to injury? Again, I don't know how bad it is, but it's his hamstring, I read. And that's gonna be a little bit weak. So, it's unfortunate, and it's a consequence of playing for basically playing a useless game. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So it's kind of a question on why he had to go. No one having it with regard. So we'll see what happens.
Well, thank you for that. You talk about the injuries, made me think, Tony, has any of your players got injured in the first day of the international break? As in, I think the game started yesterday. No, was it Wednesday? Game started?
Yeah.
The games with Leeds players started yesterday. But that's all I really care about personally. But are any of your players injured thus far?
No, I think we're kind of virtually injury free, I do believe, at the moment. I think the last time one of our players played internationally was Bowen in the Euros, and he only played half or the second half of that, and he never played again. So yeah, he's not doing too bad. Good day, David, as well. Gary's in.
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to BX Gunner, to Gary. I actually saw Gary last Sunday. Sorry, I said the wrong day. Sunday. I had dinner with his family, and my favourite part was when his dad paid for it. It was fantastic. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. On tomorrow's episode of the Road Trip, hosted by Gary, I will tell the story of how I manipulated the check dance, and then proceeded to explain to his dad exactly how I manipulated the check dance, which I think he kind of respected. But anyway, how you doing, Dan? Sorry, want to say hello to Daniel. I've always said hello to Daniel. Anyway, Guna Matar. I see what he did there. Do you know that there's a new Lion King movie coming out? Randomly, that it was like a prequel. Did you want to know the story of Mufasa? Well, you could probably grab the choice whether you want to. Anyway, speaking of terrible movies, has anyone seen Joker 2? Anyway, sorry, what?
Actually, you kind of discouraged me from watching it, so I basically saved money a bit, right?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I suffered it, so everyone I meet in my life doesn't have to. I mean, you can,
So,
Sorry.
in honor of Joker 2, we're gonna do our own dance maneuvers, the four of us. Was it a music? I don't even know anything about it, but I heard it was a musical or something.
Yeah, it had musical elements. I will say all I will say about this movie, it is so bad it actually manages to make the first movie worse.
It was at that time.
It takes some doing. Like Terminator
Wow.
1, Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1, but I would not say it is so much better than it that you can't watch Terminator 1. Like, movies are better than other movies, but Joker 2 actually makes Joker 1 unwatchable in hindsight.
Wow.
But it was a good movie at the time. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm a talkative person. Anyway, sorry, Alonso, I'm going to make up a question. So I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 3, and I want you to guess it.
2.
That's number 1. Anyway, what? Sorry. It's not seen this for web. It's a great thing.
No.
It's a great thing. It's a great show. I'm just going to pump out nonsense. So, I don't know. You should probably apologise to your audience, Tony, on behalf of... Because...
No, I think they know what the show's all about, so I think they're okay with that, mate.
Oh, fair enough. Hello to Anfield Uncle Rods. Wow, let's not talk about his legal background. Sorry, what? Sorry, I shouldn't have said that out loud, should I? He was very good in Hangover. His tiger was a great actor. Of course, he has a tiger. Anyway, I'm actually getting I'm getting fascinated by their conversation in the thing. Like, I want to know how Guna Matata's doing, and I'm invested in how good Nick Fadley's doing. Also, like, it's cool. Sorry, Daniel, come on your Spurs. How dare you? How do you think I don't pick crazy bets on a national break? Stay around, because I'm gonna pick some shit. Sorry, what? Pardon my language. That was rude of me. I shouldn't really swear on Lolo's show. Lolo's not around though, and he won't know. When he does know, it'll be far too fucking late. Anyway, what? Sorry.
What have you done with him anyway?
He's trapped in the dungeon.
Convention of Lights.
He says he's working, whatever that means. Yeah, okay.
That's what I told him to write. That's what I told him to type in the
that
text.
old chestnut. That's what we say. That old chestnut is next.
He's working. Yeah.
That's very kind, Gunnar. So,
do you want to take a look at the tables for the teams?
I was going to say that. I want to look at the Premier League table so I know what I'm talking about, because I don't watch Premier League football.
Here we go.
So, wait a minute. What's that about? What's that next to Spurs? Daniel, I'm sorry you have to see this. I'm a bit embarrassed that you have to see this, but I suppose you're even more embarrassed that your team sucks. So, speaking of teams that lost to Brighton.
Mr. Joshua Gay won't like seeing that one. Look, Man United 14th.
I mean, there are worse things I've seen. I've got to be honest. I mean, there.
The fact that Wolves are 20th is quite surprising.
Why does that surprise you, Alonso?
Well, given the fact they have injuries and all that, but it's just kind of different because, we're used to seeing Wolves being middle of the table to the lower towards the table, but not like this. Crystal Palace also is kind of, whenever you hit that, the club, right, hits that plateau of being mid-table, but then it slowly declines into, bottom of the league. And that's what I'm seeing right now out of Crystal Palace. It's like, how many times have they survived? And it's caught up to them. Granted, they have injuries too, but it's just different, I guess, Tom, is what I'm trying to say. Because you would have assumed that it would have been Everton, maybe Leicester, maybe Bournemouth. But seeing Crystal Palace Wolves is kind of different. Seeing how they've had a good run in the Premier League recently.
What I wanna do is I wanna ask the people in the chat to put down, and I know it's too early, so I'm not gonna hold any of you to it because I'm probably not gonna remember. But of course, I'm not gonna remember come May. But right now, based on what you've seen, who are the bottom three going to be? And Tony, I'm gonna ask you that directly as well. Who do you see the bottom three being? And again, I'm not gonna hold you to it because I'll forget it by the end of the show anyway. So,
Right, Tony, you go first.
Southampton's definitely going to be going down. That's for sure. Wolves, I don't think, unless they can turn things around, because apparently they're already looking at who's the, I think it's a Scottish team manager, one of the Scottish teams. They're looking at a manager there that's apparently he's an up and coming one to probably replace Gary O'Neill. So if they don't turn it around, Wolves could be in there. And even at this stage now, I mean, Ipswich, I fancy them to stay up, but realistically, it could be them. I think Palace will get themselves out of it. The fact that, which was I found strange, that Palace didn't really back this manager during the window. Yeah, Man United, they could be there as well. But yeah, they didn't back this manager, considering when they brought him in, he turned Palace around from the Hodgson era. And they sold most of the players off, sold the silverware. So it'd be very interesting if Palace can get themselves out of it as well.
well, what I would like to do before I go to Alonso's three teams, what I want to say is I want to say to Nick Fadley, I've done the maths. Ipswich can and will get 97 points. That is what is available to them. And that, in my opinion, that's enough to win the title if Man City decide they don't want to win the title and then get 98 points. So I'm telling you, it can happen. It can happen. It won't, but it can happen. Anyway, you don't want to be disrespectful. That's very kind of you, Mr. Fadley. It's very kind of you. I will let the Crystal Palace manager know you don't want to pick his team for relegation. I'm sure he'll love you for it. Alonso, go. Shoot. Your three teams.
So, like Tony has said, I think Palace stay up because I think there's no talent there for them to do so. But they're not a bad team. They just have had some bad luck recently. They stay up. I think I don't know. I think Wolves have enough. I think Everton. I don't want them to stay up any much longer than they have to. To be honest, I think they go down, and it'd be kind of weird seeing a team that get moved up go back down. So I'm hoping Ipswich stay up at least, and I see Leicester going back down.
Mm. Yeah, that's a possibility as well.
All right. So that poses a question, right? If you think Ipswich are surviving, I guess what you mean when you say that is basically the two of the promoted sides will not survive.
Mm-hmm.
Which established Premier League club that was in the Premier League last year will get relegated?
Everton. United. Right.
Fine.
Fine.
That's fine. I mean, there's no right or wrong, but it is Man United. I mean, imagine
I'm
how
not
much
doing anything. It just automatically pops up by
It
itself.
automatically popped up. He just thought of it, and our brain power made it happen. Hello, Italy Jet. How you doing, brother? He's an actual Italian jet, but he's calm and he can type on YouTube. Sorry, he's a good lad. He's a good lad. So Man United are going down. How much money will they spend in January to try and avoid that? It's not gonna come to that. But seriously, it'd be funny. I don't know. Like I don't want to upset Nick Fadley by suggesting teams are going to get relegated after 7 games. Like I can sense he's really sensitive about it. He's like, stop doing this, Mr. Tom. It's going to upset everyone. Man United have scored 5 goals, 4 goals less than bottom of the league. Yeah, it's true.
Tom, How fair is it to say that the reason why Southampton got promoted is because of defense?
I actually think the reason they got promoted is because God hates Leeds United, and the football gods, because ultimately they played better than us in one particular 90 minutes of football. But I genuinely believe we would have been better prepared for the Premier League than they are. But I mean, ultimately, it changed the future for a lot of teams because not Man City, West Ham would not have Somerville if we got promoted. Brian wouldn't have Rutter. Don't get me wrong, when he plays really well, he's Rutter. But when he does what he usually does, he's Rutter. It's funny how us English pronounce things. But I still can't believe goalkeeper dropped the ball or didn't catch the ball. It's just easier to say drop the ball. I'll be an 80-year-old man and I imagine I'll be woken up by a nurse, hopefully one that looks like Pamela Anderson from 1994, who then says, Mr. Tom, why are you talking about a Meslier? Who is... There you go.
Oh, nice.
Made me call for it. It's that... Oh, God. Sorry, man. So I shouldn't have reacted like that. I'm sure she's a good woman. I never met her personally, but I heard she was a big fan of mine. Going too far. I'm going too far. That was going proper in the gut. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry. I don't mean to upset you.
No worries.
Nah. But I'm trying to think of what I can bring up next. So then John mysteriously uses magical brain powers to just put it on the screen. It's like, I'd hate to see Mike Tyson again. Be terrible. There you go. But I'm thinking of a carrot right now, and mysteriously Steven Seagal. I don't know why. Which obviously makes me think of Gary on a Friday night. There you go. He's a great actor. I don't care what the reviews say.
Do we want to get to the championship? Do you want to look at those standings, or you still want to?
I hate looking at the championship standings because it confirms that my own team are in the championship. But to be fair, Dr. John, you did put it together, and it's a fine piece of work. I absolutely think we should look at the championship. Yeah, this is a thing. We could have been top.
It was close, Tom.
Yeah, it's very close. So for the benefit of your audience, Tony, I do support Leeds United. I am one of them. I don't know what them means in that situation, but I'm sure you can put a connotation to it.
Queen's Park.
You got any thoughts on this, Alonso? Sorry?
Is that?
Sorry, what did you say, Tony?
The Queen's Park Rangers at the bottom end again. So when you think 3 former Premier League teams, and they're sitting bottom there as well.
I'll tell you something that's funny, or it's not that funny for me. That Queen's Park Rangers team beat my team 4-0 5 months ago.
Wow.
4-0. And they sneaked a 4-0 win. They absolutely demolished us and deserved to win. And it makes me laugh that they're where they are, because people spent all summer going, because of that particular game. You know, you get all the armchair pundits, which we all are, to be fair, going, I think Queen's Park Rangers are dark horses for promotion. It's like, no, they just overperformed for one game. And then there's to an Arsenal fan, for example, Alonso, do you feel there are teams that will play harder against Arsenal than anyone else? When I'm not going to use West Ham.
Crystal Palace.
Everton rock up. Yeah, Crystal Palace rock up at the Emirates. Do you feel they'll play harder against you guys than they will if they go to West Ham?
For sure. Yeah, it's happened before. It's happened multiple times, Tom. They give us draws all the time. They surprise us with a squeaky goal here and there every so often. So, yeah, I think that it's a London derby. So I think Arsenal's a top London side at the moment. So, of course, a team like Palace or Brentford would always play harder against Arsenal. I've seen it. And I think back to 2 3 years ago whenever Brentford beat Arsenal 2-0, right? And they shocked Arsenal fans. And that game, soccer came back too early to come back to. This is when that whole soccer thing happened, unfortunately, with the England team. And just want to give them a round of applause. And they lost that game 2-0. Because they're always up for it, Tom. So yeah, Palace as well. So it's a sort of London teams that always give us a hard time, to be honest.
But really, it's because you're a very good football team, right? So teams know if they don't play hard, they'll get demolished by you.
Right.
Like for example, like I feel that the reason I bring that up is I feel like that's Queen's Park Rangers in that situation. If they didn't play very hard against Leeds United, they would have got relegated. But
it cost you guys. It kind of cost you guys that first, second spot.
It did. I mean, there was a lot of games that cost us that, but to put Tony back into play here, do you feel that's the case for your club? Like teams will play harder because they know they're coming to London Stadium or something like
that? I think sometimes you've got a little bit of that, but you've also got it's West Ham as well. How we play sometimes, we don't help ourselves. I mean, when you're saying about teams demolishing, Arsenal doing us last season 6-0. I mean, half time 4-0, and you're just seeing the crowd leaving in its droves. I mean, I think no one expected that result. Well, I don't think anyone expected to see that kind of result in that. I don't think even Arsenal expected that scoreline. But sometimes you when it's not going for you, everything it's a domino effect. So when you get a game where a team, and no disrespect to Arsenal at that point because they were scoring goals for fun, we just was on the brunt of it at that stage, and 6-0. I mean, the funny about it, when you say as a true fan, do you stay till the end? Most people, true fans will say they will, but 6-0, it's a hard pill to swallow. But no, I think if you, full well, it's like if you look at Arsenal, City, the lower teams will sometimes give you more of a harder game than the top 6 teams.
Well, they have to, or you'll pick them apart.
There is that, but I think it's again when you look at it, it comes down as Damien's put there. Teams don't mind coming to the London Stadium. It's a nice away day for the teams, which is true. But I think it all depends what team turns up.
Sorry.
It depends what what West Ham team turns up sometimes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree on that as well.
I mean, my favourite visit to London Stadium was when we actually beat you, surprisingly.
Yes, I remember that game. Yeah,
shock horror. Do you know what? My bollocks dropped that day when the ball crossed over and Bowen. If he'd done anything other than what he actually did, it's 3-3.
Yeah.
When he put the ball over the bar with the header.
Yes. Yeah.
I've never been so grateful for him to have an off day.
What does that mean when your bollocks dropped over?
Drop. Like, but it's biological, you see.
No idea what you talk. Oh, okay.
It's like when you're coming out of puberty, sir. It's when your voice stops going from a to a hello, mate. What are you doing? What are you doing? You go watch Leeds United. Oh, look at Lolo. He's in the chat. He's in the chat.
So Tom, we went from Michael Jackson to Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you something, brother. Anyway, what? So I promise I won't do the Michael Jackson impression. I'm sorry,
No problem.
mainly because it sounds more like Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh from South Park. Anyway, so
seeing Damon's comment there when he said about the seating at the London Stadium brought it closer to the pitch. I mean, that was one of the big selling points from GSB. It'll be just like Upton Park. The seats will be right up against the pitch.
No.
And well, the funny part about the seating is there, but it's never been used. It's just sitting there collecting dust. And apparently, the firm that was supposed to install it went bust, and so all these seats are sitting there doing bugger all, basically. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I mean, they've brought the seats slightly closer the way they've redesigned the seating area down the bottom end, but it's nowhere near the same as what it should be. So yeah, we all got sold down the river on that one.
Oh, look, hello to Michael Chelsea FC. Who do you support, Mike?
I see Mr. Joshy one there. No, I wasn't at the game for that, Mr. Joshy J. I wasn't at the London Stadium for that game, but I get quite heavily reminded of that by Hot Fuzz. We're on our show. He definitely shows that picture quite often. Try Al Pacino next.
Got a comment from Damien D'Amico. Wonder if he's Italian American. I bet he's been in good. I bet he's a real life good fella. Sorry, Damien. I'm really not meant to like at you live on the internet or anything. But I'm sure he's a good fella with no murders to his name. Anyway, sorry, what? Old Somerville ain't made the impact expected. Be interested in Tom's opinion if that comes as a huge surprise. I'm becoming worried about the signing. Well, I get the impression you are not. It's a classic championship transfer where a player will obviously rather go and sit on the bench in the Premier League than actually play every week in the championship, because you get about 4 times the money for a start, and you ain't got to do as much running. I mean, eventually, yeah, you have to start doing something. Like you'd all go to a job that pays you 4 times what you're already earning. I mean, I predicted it. I knew he was a good fella. And he's definitely never murdered anyone. Definitely not.
And he's not Italian American, Tom.
Yeah, he's Italian East London. Yeah. Like, hey yo, meat. Anyway. Grade the Terrifier 3 out of 42. I'm never going to watch it. That's not true. I'm not going to watch it, mainly because I've not seen the Terrifier 1 or 2. So I'm not going to waste my time watching the 3rd installment or something. But I've heard it's rather grim. Anyway.
Never heard of it. Not missing much.
I can't really judge it because I've not watched it, but I've heard what it's like. It's like a serial killer called Art the Clown, which I actually thought was a nickname for Somerville when he started playing for West Ham. Anyway, what? Sorry. Anyway, sorry, he walks into that. I'm sorry, Christ said to you. I've really got nothing against him because he was a nice lad who basically convinced Willie Friednotto to stop being a bit of a prick. Successfully, but yeah, one big Somerville up till Spurs played them. It's a very Spursy thing. It's a very Spursy thing that could potentially happen because he's going to get his first goal against Spurs if the Spurs fans insult him. He ain't scored for you yet, has he? Could be wrong.
Not yet.
Oh.
But then it's given the opportunity to do it first of all.
He knows more about my players' living arrangements than I do. No, it's clear they were mates. I mean, they should watch out for you because you know a bit too much about my players. Knows more than I do. In all seriousness, okay.
What are you saying about the Italians? Since I'm Italian.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead. Keep
you
going.
are the person I'm most afraid of. That's why I live in England. Is because I know you can get to me. And that's why I make sure I'm living in the dark, so you can't find me, even though you can easily find me.
I know where you live.
Yeah, it does. I've never told him my address, and I know he knows where I live. Anyway, he knows people down at the internet service provider company. Anyway.
Yeah, David said, tell him, John.
I don't blame you. Everyone should encourage John to commit criminal acts against me. You should actually do that. Although I probably won't think that if he actually takes that advice. I'll probably be thinking, yeah, I should have said less shit about him on the internet. But anyway.
I just seen the Championship though, but Tom, I see old Luton has got no chance of coming straight back up. Seeing their position.
Thankfully, because that means my team have got more chance of it. No, in all fairness to Luton, to give them credit, their kit is nice. And it's pretty cool that you play in the garden of someone's house. But yeah, anyway. Did you know they play in the garden of people? You have to go through people's gardens. The internet never talks about that about Luton. It's not the first thing anyone ever mentioned about. But no, you're right. They spent a lot of money in the Premier League, but they did take the money that they got for playing in the Premier League and put it in something useful, building a new stadium. Very admirable. Instead of we're going to try and get immediately bounce back up and then spend 200 million in the transfer window in the Championship, because if that failed, then you're fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we potentially will be if we don't go up. Don't get me wrong, financially we're fine. As in, like, I'm pretty sure Red Bull and the NFL San Francisco 49ers are not in danger of like not being able to afford the light bill. But it is an issue with the new football rules that you can't spend money that you haven't recouped. Who's LB, Richo? I should put that in my notepad. They to answer the question from Damien D'Amico, I just love saying his name. It's very alliterative. You know, superheroes have alliterative names for the most part. And then I immediately gone blank and forgot names of superheroes. But that's not cool.
LB, yeah, I know LB, yeah. No, he's saying it. Good.
Yeah. That makes sense. He was quite good in that film, I heard. Brando. He's considered a good actor. He wouldn't take my phone calls, though. Alonso, tell me something about any football team that you can think of that are not Arsenal. Okay.
So Alonso is really up on the Premier League.
I could think of it. I just don't want. I was going to say West Ham, but let's see here. I go with Fulham.
Tell me something about Fulham.
That they have a good player in Rutherford that we should have kept, but for his benefit, we sold him to Fulham so he could get more playing time. And he's been successful, and
sneaky fucker.
He's done great.
You sneaky fucker. I'll basically going to tell you something about a team that's not Arsenal, and then you pick Fulham and then proceed to turn it into Arsenal players. How fucking dare you?
Get it in there.
Do you feel I was born yesterday, young man?
Yeah, no. That's true.
Tony, it's only fair I'll ask you the same question. Tell me something about, and I'll be really impressed if you manage to turn it about West Ham. I'll be really impressed.
Well, I'm just going to say about going on Alonso's one with Fulham and that, the one thing he missed out on there, and they had a lifelike statue of Michael Jackson outside the stadium before. It was so lifelike, it was untrue. It really looked good. Just like the Harry Kane statue, if you've seen that one, that's been locked away in a garage for I don't know how many years because it's so lifelike, it's frightening, really. But let's see now. What team can I pick from the Premier League? What team can you pick from there? I suppose if you look at it, I think, and I won't turn it around on that, but I will say in certain respects, one of the longest serving clubs in the top flight, and that's Everton.
Right.
If you got to consider, for some reason, I'm sure Mr. Deitch must pick up all the dog shit around the stadium, around the area, because he tells all the players to tread into it, and that because I think that's how they manage to keep into the league. Because every year it looks like they're going to go down, and by hook or crook, they manage to stay up. But if they do go down, they've got a brand new, shiny new stadium to go and play in the Championship. That would be a disaster.
I agree.
But the one thing they can't do at the moment is actually get a new owner, because every time it seems like they're hitting the goalpost, and it seems like the crossbar snaps and someone else comes in.
If Richo is still around, if it's not Arsenal, fuck him. Who let him in the chat? Who let him in? This is a hostile takeover. It's not that hostile. It's very kind of him to allow this to happen. For all your benefit, of course. Because I would just as happily have gone to sleep after playing a game of NBA 2K24. I'm too cheap to get the latest one. Anyway, what? Sorry, that's too much. That's too much. Too much inside baseball. No, I appreciate all that stuff about Everton. But I wanted Richard to confirm. Do you have a new ownership? Because I did see in the news a couple of weeks ago that someone has invested. Yeah, Freaking Groups, Coaster.
Yeah,
is that the group that owns Roma? But anyway, yeah, sorry.
Is he American? Is he American born?
Yeah.
I think I heard something about that somewhere. I think it was
being a president or something.
Okay, right. So I heard Tim Howard talk about the ownership, because here in the States we get Tim Howard and Robbie Musto and the other Robbie who.
Robbie Musto, former Middlesbrough player, I believe.
Yeah. He's very insightful.
In the 90s Premier League. He must be a good pundit.
He
must be a good pundit because he did fuck all in the Premier. No, sorry, that's not true. That's not true. Don't get me wrong. He would run rings around me on a football pitch until I kicked him in the balls. So if he run rings around me. So he's already achieved more in football than I ever will. But I get the feeling that America's scraping the barrel a bit.
So it's Tim Howard, Robbie Musto, and Robbie Earl.
Robbie Earl. He used to play for Wimbledon.
Right.
I have a lot of respect for Robbie Earl. He was a good player.
He's a good man, yeah. And they're very good pundits, Tom and Tony. So every time I get up in the morning time, I listen to them on the pregame and postgame. And Tim Howard was talking about the new ownership that's going to take place at Everton. In a way, I wanted them to go down, but as Tony has said, that they're the most historic, they're one of the oldest top flight football teams in England. So it'd be a disaster if they don't stay up. And at one point they're a really good mid-table team at one point. And just to see them fall from greatness like they have in the past 5 years is kind of astronomical, as they say. So, I hope it works out for them and their fans.
So thank you for that, Richo, because I was unsure if your ownership was going through or if it had gone off a cliff yet again, and I hadn't realised. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you, Alonso, and thank you, Tony, for bringing up something that we didn't really have any plans for, of like throwing things out there, seeing what people say, because otherwise it's just me just saying nonsense. But what's that? Who called Mr. Joshy? Who called you a fraud? Bald fraud? Oh no, you're calling someone else a bald fraud. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, because I think he's saying because he uses the term bald fraud. Someone called him Mark Goldbridge, basically copying Mark Goldbridge.
I'll call the Leicester manager, who's now the Chelsea manager. I'll call him a bald fraud because he is a bald fraud. I mean, he's doing all right now at the moment for Chelsea. Calling it honestly, he's doing. But to be fair, I imagine you would be doing all right if you had a Cole Palmer banging in 4 goals in the first half for fun.
Mm-hmm. Like the Iceman.
It's an awful thing to have in the squad, to be able to turn to, go to everyone. It's all right. Cole's got it in the first half. Look what a cat dragged in. It's Lawrence Watkins from Lexington, Kentucky. My favourite place is Kentucky because of their fried chicken. It's glorious. It's
He was
actually
doing some
fairly
pork
close.
steaks the other day. He was cooking some pork steaks on the barbie the other day. Very
I
jealous.
approve of pork. If I had my way, this would actually become a food channel, and where I just sit and eat food, and I don't care whether anyone watches it or not. And I would absolutely eat that hot and spicy Wolver Spamton. Yeah, channel. Yeah. I smell what you're cooking, Lawrence. I see. It's because I called you a cat being dragged in, isn't it? Or dragged in by a cat. I deserve that.
I have to agree
Right,
with
okay.
Lawrence right
So-
there.
It's because I disparaged the Italian American community, wasn't it?
Hey, Tom, can I ask Lawrence a question?
Of course, you may ask Lawrence
Right.
a question.
Lawrence, being from Kentucky, do you watch NASCAR? I had to do it, Tom.
In my head, I heard that. I shut my eyes and I was like, John, please put something up that signifies he is to shut his mouth. He's to shut his dirty mouth right now.
It could have been a lot worse, Tom. I could have said the Flyers are going to sign competition as the Rangers.
That's true. I say a lot, but that always like it's well covering where I'm thinking of more nonsense. But anyway, what's happening at Leeds lately? Well, we had the week from hell. To put it another way, it started off all right with a 3-0 win against Coventry. That was okay because it suited me and it went my way. And then we drew 1-1 at Norwich. It's a good result, to be fair. Very good result in hindsight. Ethan Ampadu got injured in that and he's out for a few months. Then in the next game, which was the Friday night at Sunderland, well, you all know what happened at Sunderland. My nan's been dead since 2001, and she knows that Melier didn't catch the ball in the 97th minute.
Yeah, he had a bit of a stinker, didn't he, really? And I think old Jordan Pickford picked up from him yesterday from the game.
In between that game and the Norwich game, we also lost our other central midfielder, Gruev. I think it's Gruev, actually. So both central midfielders injured for months, one needing surgery. Could have gone worse. So could have gone better. But it's disappointing for that to happen in the 97th minute. But to answer your question, Richo, that's what's happening at Leeds. Oh, but we did find out that we are going to build a 53,000-seater stadium, which I will only believe once I'm sat on the fucking seat.
So
what's that, Alonso?
Today I didn't meet, but I kind of found out today that so in England, do you guys have Toastmasters?
Yes.
Toastmasters.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So my mom does it, and I've been going to meetings, and one of the guys was a former congressman here in the States, here in Montgomery County where I live at in Texas, and he supports Blackburn Rovers. And, I asked him, I was like, remember Alan Shearer? And he said yes. And, it's a shame that it's a shame like a club like Blackburn Rovers couldn't stay up because of financial reasons. And he was talking to me about that, but then he got caught up in other stuff and he couldn't really talk more about it because, again, we're Toastmasters. So, I always found Blackburn Rovers a fascinating club because they're once a great club with great support, and now they're in championship for like thousands of years now, kind of. Well, right. So, at what point do you guys see them going back up, or is there a chance that ever it will go up, or is there still financial problems with that club? Just curious.
I personally don't think they are going to go up this year. I could be wrong, but
not with the
You've got to
Venkies.
remember with Blackburn is that they are the original Manchester City. They were the first team in the Premier League era to actually be like, our owners actually willing to spend loads of money. Like, off the top of my head, I think in the first season of Premier League, or around that era, they spent about 40 million quid, which at the time that happened, the world record transfer fee would have been about 5 million. I don't know if Tony was going to say something about Blackburn or not, but
yeah, I think you're not going to see them come up. That's for sure, because I think the Venkies themselves are struggling financially, business-wise themselves, and I can't see them putting much investment into the club anyway. So unless someone comes in and buys the club, then you might see some kind of movement. But other than that, I don't think Blackburn will see them returning for quite a few years.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations, Richo, on your retirement. I'm not mocking Richo with this because it's not his fault, but when they talk like a politician or something that someone's died or that, and the priest at the funeral always go so and so and their beloved Aston Villa, or Prince William goes to the Champions League match to watch his beloved Aston Villa. Why is it always beloved? Why is there no other descriptor to describe someone and their football team? And
so it should be like Tom and his very frustrating Leeds United.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
That would actually be the accurate description. Because you have moments where you're like, Dad, why did you support Leeds United? For me to follow suit. Because it's never my fault. It's always someone else's fault. But anyway,
I think, Mr. Tom, I think Lawrence asked you a question as well, I think.
I'll go through it.
When he said he moved to Kentucky 2 years ago.
Oh no, that's not. That's for Mr. Alonso.
Oh, okay.
So my sister used to live in Maryland in a town called California by Lexington Park. So I would fly into Baltimore all the time to visit my sister. So she got married in Towson, Maryland, which is kind of like a miniature New York, kind of. Kentucky, I've only, I think, driven through it before, but Kentucky is a nice state, and they have a NASCAR track there in Kentucky. So Martin Truex, however, has not won. I think he's won there once, I think. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think it should be an idea for us to take a quick break. I believe if Dr. Director John has a.
I didn't finish medical school.
Yeah, you finished this medical school.
Blood freaks me out.
John,
blood freaks me out, especially me.
Because it's the international break, and we all hate that. I think the only way to truly honour that is to break with internationals. It's to play our video of Lolo's wife in Brazil, I believe, with the Brazilian football team. Former Brazilian football team, but back bad to troll it.
On the Stoops. Hola, ¿qué tal a todos? Soy de Nilsson, desde Brasil, desde aquí del estadio del Palmeiras. Mando un saludo a todos y mucha salud a nosotros, ¿vale? Un besito, hasta luego.
Hola Lolo, soy Nilsson, ex-jugador de Brasil, de Lyon, de Barcelona. Estoy pasando por aquí para saludarte a ti y toda la gente que te acompaña en el programa. Fuerte abrazo, Dios te bendiga.
Hola, soy Zé Roberto, pasando para saludar a Lolo y los seguidores de On The Stoop. Saludos.
Muy simples, ¿vale?
Venga.
Mira, son dos saltitos. Dos saltitos aquí, dos saltitos aquí, dos saltitos aquí, dos saltitos aquí. Y ahí empieza la cintura, ¿vale? Las manos, los brazos. Es simple.
Es súper fácil.
Es sí,
ahora más rápido, ahora más rápido.
Oh. Es simple.
Venga, tú.
Venga, ven. Ven ahora tú. ¿Quieres que le enseñe la samba? Lo estoy diciendo que es muy fácil.
Venga, chicos.
Muy fácil. ¿Qué? ¿Dos? No, Zé não sabe.
Sí que sabe, que es mi
É
padre.
dos. Aí, ó.
¿Alguien más se anima?
Quem se anima? Tu? Vem.
Venga, chicos.
Pero no aprendí nada.
Ey, dale.
Tem que saltar um pouquinho. Aí, salta um pouquinho. Aí, aí, ó. Tem que saltar pelota, mover los brazos, mira.
Muy bien.
Bien. Viva Brasil, eh?
For anyone who doesn't know, that was Denilson, who was at one time, I believe in 1998, he was the most expensive player in the world. He was purchased by Real Betis. I believe it was £22 million. And then they promptly got relegated. It's true. And also, Z Roberto was spotted there. Most known for playing in the very good Bayer Leverkusen team that made every final, including the Champions League, and lost all of them in the same season. And then obviously went to Bayern Munich, because if you're any good footballer in Germany, they will buy you, basically. And that's how they maintain their iron grip at the top of German football, usually. And they do it they do it my favourite way. They basically convince the player to not sign a new contract, so they haven't got to pay for the player. Genius. A member of the chat, basically, I just off the top of my head, his name's Mr. Tom28, suggested, are England the Spurs of international football? Which leads to another question. Are Spurs the Everton of the South? I'm sorry, Richo. But, you forced my hand by bringing up Sunderland in 73. You forced me. That's true, they do. Daniel, come on, come on. I can't help it. Me and Director John, we have a wavelength, and we just know when to go after Spurs. Usually after a defeat, so after most games.
Are you saying I think like you? Oh, fuck! I got to get a life.
Nice one.
Yeah, it's true. It's a fair point. John. And if I say it's not, he'll probably have my legs broken by the end of the show. So,
by a good fella.
Yeah, by Damien D'Amico. He technically probably lives near me as well, so I'm kind of wary about that. So, I know you mentioned East London. So I do have that. I have exactly that. But by 10,001, I'll probably mean like 100 or something, because international football's rubbish. There's no money to be made in international football unless you choose something that's definitely not going to win. Speaking of which, Director John, is there any chance you happen to have Betting in the Dark with Mr. Tom queued up? What's that?
Betting in the Dark with Mr. Tom.
Come on, love, place your bets.
Hello, everyone. It's Cyril. It's Cyril, the football picking duck.
Cyril.
It's the world famous Cyril. Got his bow tie and everything. He will refuse to come on here if he doesn't have his bow tie. And yeah, I'm from the asylum. No, East London. I actually live about 10 minutes from West Ham Stadium. Anyway, we start out with John's low-key favourite team. He'll never directly admit that they are his favourite team, but it's tradition on the Stoop episode during the national break. Why'd you hate Cyril? I'm prepared to do away with all this. Why do you hate Cyril, Lawrence? What's he ever done to you? It's this duck you need to watch out for. He's the one that thinks your team stinks. Anyway, what? Sorry, what? Anyway, well, yeah. So basically, we've got a Cheltenham Town versus Swindon Town, the musical, as depicted by this playbill here, and I've got it finished as Desmond Tutu. Haha. Glatzel to score first because the only Swindon player I actually know, but he is a striker. I think he scored against Leeds once during the lockdown for Cardiff. Anyway, and then Manny Norkit because it's the funniest sounding name for Cheltenham. Tell me what he looks like. I couldn't tell you, but still, that will pay out 159. Oh, sorry, do apologise. Getting ahead of myself. This is where I'm required to do a disclaimer. I'll pretend to be Lolo for a second. These picks are so terrible, they're not intended to be taken seriously and they should be used for entertainment purposes only. But if you are to do it, when the fun stops, stop. Was that enough, Lolo? That legally? But think of all the money. Anyway, no. But yeah, seriously. To my knowledge, this is 21st versus 20th. So there could be lots of goals. It just depends on if the defence are worse than the attack. Which it probably is, to be fair. Anyway, Dr. John, could you please go on to slide 2, if you don't mind? It's the United States versus Panama in an international friendly tomorrow. And we've got Panama to win, mainly because it pays the most money. But also, in any international match recently, which is of any significant importance, Panama beat you. They beat you in Copa America. They qualified for the 2018 World Cup by beating you. I don't think this is an unfair shout, personally. They are managed by former Leeds United manager Thomas Christensen. Genuinely true. He was one of our 700 managers during our exile from the Premier League. I believe he lasted about 4 months. Sorry, what's that?
Tom, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Did BX talking to picking it Haji Wright to score?
It's interesting. Have a good night, Richo. He did play some part in it, to be fair to him, because he always goes on about Haji Wright. And I'm like, there must be something to that. Don't get me wrong. When he come to Ellen Road 2 weeks ago, he was not good. He was not good. He did not do well. But
I don't know why BX favors him. He wants him at Arsenal.
Yeah, but if you bought players based off of BX Gunner's wins,
analysis,
you'd have quite the mix of characters and Rafinha. But anyway, gun dash. Have a good night, buddy. Have a good night. Buddy. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your Monday morning. I keep going forever until someone stops me. But yeah,
that's pretty funny, huh, Tom? I mean, I don't know. To me, he has the skills, but whenever you ask him to play for USA and or Coventry, what do you expect from him?
All I'm saying is, and I'll give you the credit, BX Gunner, is that he is a good footballer. He's a great footballer. Absolutely great footballer. And I understand that any time his name even comes up as he might be willing to leave Barcelona, like, I understand it will give you an emotional erection. I totally understand that. You'll be like the equivalent of, oh my God, we need to buy Rafinha. Like, I totally get it. But Haji Wright is one where I'm like, is it just because he was born on a certain plot of land? Anyway, Deborah the Zebra, USA 4-0.
4-0, wow.
Have you been playing well enough to actually stipulate that you could win this 4-0?
Me?
Well, I presume you've seen more of the United States men's national team than me and Tony have.
Well, I've seen more of England, to be honest, Tom. But, I do watch USA, and it seems like USA, to me, depend too much on Christian Pulisic. You can make the argument that had Rhea not gotten stupid and punched the player, we probably would have gotten through to the next round of the Copa America, aka Copa Cabana. But at the same time, you have to have your temperament on a straight edge if you're going to play for USA. And President Chino, I want to be optimistic here. It's going to take a long time before he gets it right with USA Soccer, and it's not right now. I don't see it happening, unfortunately. It's going to be it's going to take time, and some of these USA fans don't want to accept that need time to build on. And like I said before, Pulisic is by far our best player. I think Robinson is not that far away, but still, you're depending too much on Christian Pulisic to make things work. And we need better athletes and better soccer players if USA is going to succeed on a world stage.
What I will say, and now I'll move on, unless Tony wants to add anything to this. I actually feel the real deciding factor in why I've selected Panama to win this international friendly is because I believe it is Pochettino's first game in charge of the United States men's national team, which basically means that it has the potential to be really Spursy.
Well played, Tom.
All I will say is this Deborah Zebra, never seen her before, but she's obviously an individual of superior intellect and obviously knows her stuff about football. I don't even need to see any other opinion, but that's one that's obviously probably going to be correct, I hope.
I really mean.
Yeah, of course. And just the name Zebra, because I'm now picturing a zebra that can type. It's typing about Leeds. I'm like, it's impressive. Director John, if you don't mind, would you please go to the final one? And sorry, I don't mean to rush anyone, but if you were to do this, you have about an hour, because I think this game starts now. Not now, after the show. I was really there was no. Oh no, Debbie Lewis. Why did you change your name to Deborah Zebra then? Sorry, just a fair question. Was you kidnapped? Did you fall into the zebra enclosure? And they were like, you change your name right now. Anyway, Uruguay are going to win because it's Peru and it's Uruguay. Nunez is going to score. Not confident he's going to score first, but because there's all that turmoil. Who is right? Is Luis Suarez right or is Bielsa right? Now, I'm not going to pick sides, but I am going to say it is the word of a known racist against the word of the greatest man that ever lived, Marcelo Bielsa. Hey, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I imagine Luis Suarez is right, but ultimately, you probably should have thought of that before you started being a racist fucker. If you want people to support you yeah, it's fair enough, Deborah. That's a great idea, Lawrence Watkins. Can you post Tony's channel link so people can join his channel, even though most of the viewers in here are already members of his channel?
I wish I had it.
If Tony could do us a solid and put it in the private chat, then we can convert it over.
Exactly.
Technology, that's how it works. Can you also do the same thing, Alonso?
Yeah.
Can. I mean, it'd give you something to do while spouting nonsense about all these bets. I'm trying to keep your hands full. Sorry, that sounded less PG than I meant it. But yeah, no, seriously, this genuinely, despite what people think of my betting picks, this could actually win. I don't know if it will. It probably won't because,
Hey, Tom, I have a question.
Maybe it suits my argument against him against Bielsa. Anyway, what's that, Alonso? What is your question?
There's a non-racist name rhyme with Ruiz Morez.
It might do. You know what? I wouldn't even. I mean, I've already just said it's Luis Suarez, right? Because to be fair, because you are not a mod on the thing, Alonso, your link doesn't show up, as I suspected, to the audience. So if you could also just put it in the private chat, and then Director John could convert it over to the thing, and because he has moderation rights, I believe, it might actually show up to the fine audience of people. Lovely jubbly. And also, if Dr. Director John would not mind, let's go to the secret fourth one, the magic 3. If you do all 3 of these without the correct score, you can turn 1 into nearly 41. A little bit more if you're American. A little bit more. I'm telling you, I think this is a great deal. It's a great deal. I'm making it sound like I'm Don West or something, like trying to sell stuff on the Home Shopping Network. But why not? Why not? Anyhow, okay. So that's it for our betting segment this week. Let's get back on with some strange football. I love the freedom I feel right now.
Before we go on, I got a phone call again about our new sponsor that you're going to have to talk about, Tom.
Oh, I love talking about sponsors. We've got a mystery sponsor. Who's Lolo? Friends, are you low on energy and do you feel tired all the time? Having problems in the bedroom? Try our new Lolo tested and approved Steam Fresh Sweet Viagra Peas.
Jesus.
And you will get at least 2,000 peas in every bag. Don't quote me on that. Call now, our pharmacists are standing by.
Sorry, I had to do it. Hey, he's like it says, I got 2 kids. So it works.
Everyone is laced with at least 5 Viagra tablets, I hear.
Tom,
I've been told to retract that by the United States Medical Agency, whatever it is. Sorry, go on, Alonso.
Can you tell the audience where they can find said product?
You can find said product on the Stoop, full of all necessary vitamins and minerals. The FDA, thank you.
You have to call now. Our pharmacists are standing by.
By a pharmacist, does that mean that Dr. Director John is going to get a phone call?
Exactly.
He's going to pick the phone up and go, Dr. Director, that's right, I'm a doctor and a director. I'm going to direct these peas into your mouth because your pee-pee is going south instead of north. Anyway, what? Sorry. That was too much.
Oh my God.
Hang on. I hear the word wolves. That's our magic word of the day. Wolverhampton. Pee-wee's big adventure, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
What I actually wanted to do as a pick, there we go. What I actually wanted to do as a pick initially, right? And unfortunately, it wasn't available at the time when we were actually sorting out this popular and great segment. It's not me saying that. But basically, what I would have actually suggested is I think that the New York Rangers are going to defeat the Utah Hockey Club in the National Hockey League by a score of 4-1. And that could have turned 1 into 15. 1 into 15. John, how do you think the New York Rangers have started in National Hockey League? I believe you won 6-0 last night. Oh, look, it's that Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, man. Come on, John. Ouch.
Let's all give some cash.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. It's very early.
I mean,
very
6-0 is a pretty strong start for the season, right?
Against the Penguins.
Good one, John. Good one, John. My father played tonight in Vancouver, so we'll see how that goes.
That's the state of football today. Yeah, but, you know, we do a mix of things here on Stoop. Well, we do when Lolo's back is turned.
Turn dark into light.
It sounds like I've gone to church, but still. So, is there anything you guys want to talk about or bring to the table, or the table of conversation? I sound like David Brent here. Anyway, what?
Yeah, Tom, I have a question for you, Tom. Sorry, Tony.
That's fantastic.
Who in the championship is most likely to stay up and get sent down at this moment in the season? Just curious. Just for kicks.
No, it's a great question. Thank you, John. If you could do me a favour and go to the bottom half, thank you. I actually got a feeling Cardiff are going to turn this round. Personally, I think they will. I didn't realise Luton was so low down. So I knew they were struggling, but I didn't realise they were actually like straddling the line. I think Portsmouth are going to struggle because I mean they've not won yet. I personally think I think they put all their eggs in the beat Leeds United on the opening day basket, which they didn't get. But I think they tied themselves out for the next 2 months. But is what it is. It's really hard to call in this league though, because by the nature of having 3 games in a week or in a 6-7 day period, you can win 2 games and then find yourself flying up the table.
Yeah. I mean,
or
like,
falling down it. Yeah, sorry.
Just saying about Luton as a thing, because I mean, like Damien's asking, how are they down there? I mean, have they sold a lot of players, or are they just kind of struggling in the league itself?
What I think happened, I could be wrong, because I'm by no means a Luton expert, of course. But what I believe has happened is, like, they brought in 2. I think they had Ross Barkley and Andros Townsend, and they basically left. I mean, I am guessing they never gave any pretenses that they were going to be willing to play for Luton in the Championship, but they risked that. I mean, you kind of had to. But as we were saying earlier, they brought all their money went into the stadium. So basically, they are back in the Championship with a lot of the players that got them promoted to some degree. But at the same time, they overperformed to get promoted. And you can't expect them to do the same thing for a second season in the Championship. This is a natural thing that happens.
That's a good shout from Arsenal Manic.
Do you know there's a team in, I believe, the English 5th tier that have played in the Premier League? Oldham Athletic.
Oh, the Oldham, yeah.
Yeah, they were in the first 2 seasons.
Grace, that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Who am I thinking of? Bradford City. I think they're in League 2. They played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
One of my good friends actually supports Brentford, and I don't know if you guys remember, but they actually beat Arsenal in the League Cup. And went to penalty kicks.
Yeah.
And you had center backs taking kicks. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You know, so that was when Wenger was in charge, and that was when they wore those ugly yellow maroon kits for Nike. And I was like, man, and we lost, deserving so, but we lost on shootout kicks, and we had a proper team play that game as well. So, you know, it was just whatever, you know, but I think Bradford, pardon me.
Strictly true, Arsenal maniac. Sorry, Alonso, don't mean to interrupt. They actually won the third edition of the Premier League. Man United won the
96.
first two, and then Blackburn won the third one. 94, 95, you're thinking, sir. Sorry, Alonso.
Right. So, I think they've been poorly ran. Tom and Tony is like, they're a team that you would think have the most, historically kind of, I guess, club in England. They should always be up there with, not entitled to, but ought to be at least in championship. And they haven't really been there since they had financial problems.
What
But
team
yeah,
are you talking about, Alonso? Sorry.
Bradford City.
Bradford,
City.
yeah, I thought you were. Do you know Bradford were in the Premier League so long ago that they beat Liverpool 1-0 to survive on the final day? And that meant that Leeds United qualified for the Champions League. That's how long ago these events happened.
How long has it been? How long has it been since Bradford were in the Premier League?
They got promoted in 1999, and they spent 2 years in Premier League. They survived by one place on the final day, and then I'm sure they finished bottom, but I could be wrong.
Were they in a conference at one point?
Bradford.
Yeah.
Not any time recently. I think the lowest they've gone down to is like League Two. I could be wrong. But
Okay.
I think that's where they are now. But yeah, that like Swindon Town, the musical, have played one season in the Premier League.
Yep.
And they finished bottom. I believe they conceded 100 goals. If I remember rightly, that was the worst ever performance in the Premier League defensively until Sheffield United from last season stepped into the arena and in less games conceded more goals.
Look at that. 19 out of 24 been in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds right.
And he wrote it on the internet, so it has to be true, right?
These are, yeah. These are. I mean,
Tom does Leeds have a team to move up? Expand on this, please, sir, because I don't quite get the joke. But I know there is one because it's Lawrence.
Leyton Orient in the Prem. Wow.
Like the furthest Leyton Orient have got to it, and I know they've been in the top division, but it'd been like in 1970 or something, 1948 or something, whatever it is. But I know they played in the Championship in like 2006. Obviously got relegated, but is what it is. But football's fascinating that way.
So is it a reach they could see Blackburn Rovers be back in Premier League next season?
We did win the last ever First Division. So what's that, Alonso?
Is there a good chance that Blackburn Rovers can be back in Premier League next year?
There's a chance because you can finish 6th and get promoted. But I don't think they will because, as Tony so expertly said earlier, they don't have the financial clout to actually buy the players that it tends to require. Because it's more the case of they could, but they're not willing to.
Yeah, the owners of Enkies are struggling.
Yeah.
Which team that was in the Premier League is in the lowest division possible right now?
Oldham Athletic are in the 5th tier. Tier 5. I think it's the Vanarama National League. I don't know if it's got a new sponsorship.
No, still in Vanarama, I do believe.
Fair enough.
One more thing.
How many years did it take? How many years from there to where they are now?
They were relegated in 1994. So it's basically 30. I mean, got relegated into that league about 2 years ago, I think. So it took about 28 years.
Oh.
But I think the key thing of that is they never had like when you get relegated to League One and then you go back to the Championship and then you go back, like basically they dropped did nothing for a couple of years, then dropped to League One, did nothing for about 10 years, and then dropped to League Two, did nothing for about 10 years, and then basically their fans must be fucking miserable.
Worse than you?
Oh, fuck it. They'd think I was on cocaine or something, like, compared to them. Sorry, probably shouldn't mention my fictional drug habit, but anyway.
Yeah, I remember this.
I bet Leyton Orient were thrilled with that, playing in a 60,000 seater stadium to about 2,000 people.
It was Barry Hearn, wasn't it? It was Barry Hearn.
Yeah.
It was him that kicked off because he was saying that he was closest to the London Stadium that West Ham were. And of course, you had Levy with Spurs. And in certain respects, we've got to thank them too, because obviously at one point we bought the stadium with Newham Council. And then before you know it, we can't buy the ground anymore. We now have to rent it. So thanks to Levy and Barry Hearn. Quid's in. Thank you very much. But other than that, yeah. But yeah, Karen Brady weren't having it.
Yeah, but aren't you renting it for like next to nothing comparatively?
Well, we actually increased the money for the rent because we was actually paying less than what we pay now. We actually increased the money.
I think that was more because I went to court and basically were like, I'm not fucking paying for this stadium for you fuckers to play in it with my tax money. Anyway, the 5 teams that haven't been in the Premier League: Plymouth, Millwall, Bristol City, Oxford, Preston North End. How many of them have played in a playoff final, though?
Wasn't Preston in the playoff not that long ago, Tom?
I think Preston have been in the playoff final.
Recently, right? I thought recently.
They had a spell where they were in the playoffs a lot, but never won them. I also remember Bristol City made the playoff final, but lost to Hull in 2007, I think, or 2008, one or two. We are the most successful out of those sides because we've actually won things. I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I mean, it's just factually true. Like, we lifted in 2020 when we won the championship. We actually lifted the trophy that we won in 1992, which happened to be before the Premier League. So they're great times that I never lived because I didn't like football when I was like 5 years old. But still, I was too busy into Transformers and Thundercats or whatever.
Which one?
Thundercats on the go.
Didn't Ray Rooney, didn't he manage Derby County?
Yeah. Done okay with them, to be fair. They had no money. Yeah. I think he got
fired. Okay.
I'm sure he left. He wanted to go to DC United, if I remember. Wanted to take his wife to America. Yeah. Wanted to keep his wife away from. I mean, you can move. That's very kind of you. It's very kind of you to say look like Panthro from Thundercats. I don't even know. I mean, you know, like I don't even know what degree of insulted I should be. But at the same time, I've asked him if he was a murderer within 10 seconds of meeting him on the show, so I kind of deserve it. So please proceed.
You can say it's a bit of a compliment as well, Mr. Tom, because Panthro was the remember right, he was the muscly one.
He was. He was. He was like, you motherfucker. Anyway, what?
And he said it's a compliment as well. Damien's even saying that as well.
Yeah, very kind of you, Damien. I've always said from the moment I saw you, despite the fact that I was unsure whether you could have me killed with a click of a finger, but yeah, you're clearly an astute individual that knows what he's talking about when he's comparing people to Thundercats.
Tony, but to be fair, Tony, Tom is a muscle with his show, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Peter Risdale went on to kill Leeds. No later.
Oh wow!
Oh my god! If I saw Peter Risdale in the street, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm doing the tone that I would actually punch him in the face. I wouldn't. I'd just go, Mr. Risdale, have you got a fiver? Because you clearly have money when you shouldn't, because you fucking bankrupted my club. So
love the goldfish. Hey, love the goldfish.
Oh, that goldfish. That's actually the least egregious part, but it's actually the one part that everyone talks about, rightly so. Because, I'm sure most businesses spend £40 a month on goldfish.
Because what's he the chairman of now? What club is it he's at now?
Is it Preston North End?
I think it might be actually, yeah.
But he also had Cardiff in that time. So he's actually done 2 clubs. If I remember rightly. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
He's been a few places. I mean, he sits there and goes, I tried to buy the dream. No joke, do you think Leeds have enough quality on team? Yes. Yeah, I do, because I think we've replaced the players we did sell quite well. But it's the sort of thing that we need to go up, because the longer you're in the Championship, the harder it is to get out of the Championship. It's unsustainable. Like, it's really fun when you're winning most weeks in the Championship. I'm sure you could, being in the Championship is dog shit. I'm sure it's West Ham fans. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's dog shit. But it is fun on a Saturday night when you've won 3-0 away at Blackpool or something like that. Like, seeing your team score more often than that you concede in the Championship is actually quite fun. It becomes less fun when you realise that the prize for it is actually going into the Premier League and getting beaten every week, as Southampton are discovering.
Yes. I mean, it's not an easy league to get out of either, is it? The Championship, that's for sure.
It's unsustainable.
That.
If you don't get out in 3 seasons, you're a Championship club.
Yeah.
Forever, basically. Unless you get really lucky and ride an Ipswich level wave of momentum. But other than that, it's actually about £135 million worth of players. The thing is that in the Premier League, we'd spent 100 million on players. So obviously, money don't grow on trees. You have to sell players. So a lot of Leeds fans are assuming, why haven't we then gone and bought out £130 million players? Have a good night, Lawrence. Sorry.
Sure.
Me for answering it. Anyway, my apologies. I'm in full flow of nonsense. But people are like, why aren't you replacing your £130 million sales with 100? It's like, because we're paying for all the players that flopped in the Premier League. Mark Rocker, Christensen, Brendan Aronson. These players. Apparently, you need to pay cash for these players. I didn't know. I thought it turned out if they weren't very good, you just sent them back to Red Bull or whatever. But not true.
Hey, Tony, I have a question for you, Tony. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Tony, so when I first watched the Premier League back in 2008-9 season, why do Burnley, West Ham, and Aston Villa all have the same color kits, like burgundy and blue, I guess, or light blue? Is there a reason behind that, or is it just how it was?
And don't quote me on this. I'm sure it was Burnley that originally had the claret and blue. What did we have originally? Because someone did say this last year, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was now.
I think it was the orders got mixed up. So when they shipped them to the wrong places.
I have the answer right here. As soon as I saw this question, I thought I better take a trip to the Wayback Machine, otherwise known as Google. Other search engines are available, but why would you use them? It's far easier to use. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, Burnley adopted the colours of claret and blue as a tribute to Aston Villa, who were Football League champions at the time. Fuck, that must be a long time ago. It must be like 100 years or something. Burnley's nickname is the Clarets because of the dominant colour of home shirt. Here's where West Ham come into it. West Ham's colours are the same as Aston Villa's because of a bet made in 1890. It was 100 years ago, 1899. Bill Dove, the father of a West Ham player, was challenged to a race by 4 Aston Villa players at a fair in Birmingham. Why are you going to Birmingham in the sorry, I'm just... The Aston Villa players lost the race and couldn't pay, so gave Bill Dove their football kits. You won their football kits. You won their football. You won Aston Villa's football kit. Villa shouldn't be wearing claret and blue. You lost your kit. You lost your colours in a race.
So it just shows you how slow they were back in the day.
Bill then
Thanks,
gave
Tom.
the kit
Thanks,
to
Tony,
his
for your
son.
input. I'm always curious about that because it's like it has similar colors, similar kits, right? And it's like, wow, I never knew that.
I still think it was a DHL mistake. They shipped them to the wrong place, and
DHL with their horse and cart mixing it up. Eh?
John, that was an American response, huh, John?
America. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's a great question actually because I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was Burnley first of all, but when you said about Villa now, then as a tribute kind of thing, big up Trip, hope you will. Yeah, so I thought it was Burnley that had it originally, but you enlightened us with the Aston Villa element. But it just shows you Aston Villa involved in both parts there.
Yeah, because I was always curious because I remember one year Villa wore the Acorns kit sponsor, and they had Nike as well. I remember who West Ham were sponsored by the 2008-9 season. Do you remember, John, what their kit sponsor was? Was it Puma or no? It was Umbro, right? Was it Umbro?
I think we've got Umbro now. What was it back then?
I remember when you had Fika.
Yeah.
Fiva. Remember Fiva? Fiva was also one of them too.
Yeah, Fiva. Yeah, I know. Not Admiral. Would it have been then? Might have been Umbro. Thinking about it.
Okay.
We've used them again now.
Obviously, I don't know the degrees to which like your followers have supported West Ham, etc. However, for disclosure, my brother supports West Ham United, so hence why I'm well used to like West Ham lore and things like that. So like I know more about West Ham than say the average Leeds fan. I'm not saying I know everything.
There you go.
Because I don't care.
Pony.
I don't care about it to know. Yeah, pony. It's true. But I remember when West Ham bought a player named Paulo Futre in 1995. And spoiler, I don't think he even lasted a month at West Ham before deciding I don't actually fancy living in England.
Mm-hmm.
My brother had bought the new away kit where he had the new. I mean, he was like 8 years old. He ain't buying shit. Got my parents to buy him the away kit. It was a cream away kit. I remember it very vividly. It was very nice. But he had Paulo Futre on the back. I think you bought him from AC Milan, if I remember rightly. It was a big deal at the time. But obviously, it was an even bigger deal when my mum phoned up and was like, I want to send this kit back. And she was like, oh, the fucking war that went down over this fucking shirt. Cut a long story short, turns out you can't return a football kit in 1995 that has a player's name. Like, you take that risk. It's like, no. How are we to fucking know that he's going to decide he doesn't like fucking bangers and mash?
True. That is true.
I can't remember who you sold him to, like Benfica or like. I don't think you made a loss on the deal, but
I'm going to put the link out so if anybody wants to join in.
Who wouldn't want to join in?
I have no idea.
Who wouldn't want to meet their heroes?
Trip saying, "Wait, Tom is a Leeds fan." Yes, he is.
Tom, Tony, it was him, bro. You see,
it was
the server.
Thank you, Trip Vic. Love you too.
Then you guys had the XL kits as well, right? The XL sponsorships.
Yeah.
I also remember Marco Boogers and his performance at Old Trafford. Legendary.
Oh, no. That was actually at Upton Park.
Really?
When he took it, Gary Neville was at that game. Peeing down the rain, and he came on, and you just see the red mist, the glow just kind of eliminated the actual the floodlights, and
pressure of the Premier League got to him, did it?
just kind of launched himself up into the air and that, and graciously took out Mr. Neville.
Public service, some would say.
And then
Shame
eventually
he couldn't have got him in the vocal cords.
He went that far for it for what he did, and then of course he ended up living on a caravan in Canvey Island.
with the spoils of his 6 months at West Ham or wherever it is. Outrageous. I could just see just throwing out random footballers that I remember from West Ham, usually for bad reasons. Because we can all see him go, Paolo Di Canio is amazing. Like that's really easy.
Well, you got to think of. I think was it Sheffield Wednesday or United. I think it was that game where Ian Dowie came up to defend, and the ball got launched into the box, and it was a great finish. He headed it into the top right-hand corner, bullet header, and his face was a picture. Like he looked at,
Ian Dowie's face was a picture. I bet he's never heard that
before. Glorious oil painting, Mr. Tom. A glorious oil painting. But yeah, there was some power behind the header when he scored his own goal. Classic.
Yeah. Hit every branch on the way down. That's all I'll say.
Bounce back up again.
To be fair, he served a good purpose, to be fair to him. Clyde Best, Alf Garnett loved him.
Yes.
I get that reference.
So when you guys had Dimitri Payet, right? Dimitri Payet from France. Dimitri Payet was really good too.
He was a good player until he decided he didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Well, no, he suddenly got too big for his boots because he was a nothing, and then of course come to West Ham, and also then before you knew it, turned himself around, and then suddenly kind of got bigger than what he thought he was. And then when Marseille dumped him, was it last season, crying his little eyes out?
Yeah.
Disclaimer: I don't know the size of Dimitri Payet's eyes, nor I imagine while he was crying them out. I don't know if they actually came out. Don't know the size of the eyes. But
allegedly, I'll use that word. Allegedly, that's the one.
Allegedly is one of my favourite words because you can say anything as long as you put allegedly before or after it. You can pretty much say what you want, even if it's a lie.
Allegedly,
which is technically right. Is the best kind of right. Sorry, Alonso. Please continue.
So I remember, whenever the final stages, whenever Van Persie left Arsenal, and Alexander Song went to Barcelona. And it turns out that Alexander Song didn't get a playing time at Barcelona, so he went back to London and decided to play for West Ham instead. He was not bad. He was not bad for West Ham either, right, Tony?
He was good. He was good. I mean, when he's free kicks, especially, he can really put them in the back of the net. He was quality. Take care, Arsenal. Thanks for coming in.
Alex Song. I'm talking about.
Song. No, I mean Song. I mean, he had a fairly decent season for us, kind of thing. He wasn't too bad. First of all, it was a little bit kind of like, why have we signed this player? But he kind of, when he did, as he went on, he did improve slightly for us, and he did very, he held his own. He's quite accountable for himself.
I kind of thought when he left Arsenal, he got too big for his boots, as you say, and he went to Barcelona thinking that he was going to become the next great defensive midfielder. Didn't work out for him, and like I said, I wish he wasn't that kind of player because he would have been something special at Arsenal. But I'm kind of glad he went back to West Ham and kind of found his footing there. Same like Jack Wilshere, injuries hurt his career at Arsenal when he went to West Ham. And like I said, I liked one reason I kind of have a soft spot for Arsenal, for West Ham is because of Charlton Cole, but also for Wilshere and Song went there as well. And I forgot whatever player from Arsenal went to West Ham as well. I forgot who it was, Tony, that went to Arsenal, then West Ham. Maybe you could help me out, but I forgot who it was, but he was also really good. I can't think right now.
Well, you got to think back in the day, we had Liam Brady. Was a great player, when he came to us, from used guys as well. Yeah, he had Freddie Lundberg. Yeah, yeah, I agree on that debut. Yeah, that was just kind of like a retirement fund for him.
Mhm.
But when you think John Hartson, he was one of your boys, wasn't he? He did well as well. Who's the other one? Who else was there?
Who I thought was a very good footballer for West Ham. And I don't really give you or team praise this much, but I thought a very tidy player was Mark Vivian Foe. Incredibly good for you.
God rest his soul. He was a quality, but he was a great player.
Great purchase.
And I think because the worst part about it, I think, when he died on the pitch, is the fact that the camera actually zoomed in on his face. He basically his death row face. Lawrence, thanks for coming in as well. Take it easy.
See, Lawrence.
Have a good night, Lawrence. Don't worry. I'll be seeing you in your nightmares with the Ducks. Both, whichever one you hate the most, I'll make sure it's that one. Have a good night. Have a good week.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Mark
Vivian
was a quality player. Was a great player for us, and it was a shame that he went basically. But yeah,
Okay, you guys had Fabianski as well, right?
Sorry, what was it?
Fabianski.
Oh, Fabian,
Lucas
yeah, he's still with us now.
Yeah, is he really? Wow.
Still with us now. So yeah.
Did you have Chesney in goal at any point? The one who used to play for Arsenal. Did you have Chesney, the one who played for Arsenal, in goal? The one is now at Barcelona.
No, Tom.
Okay, no. I had no idea. It sounds like he's a player that would have had a stint at West Ham in his time. But like you said, Fabianski makes more sense. Yeah.
So we've had a few guys, it's been good for the club and moved. I mean, the one I liked that we also signed a defender was take care, Bim. Was Thomas Repka.
Have a good night, Bim.
He was a great player for us, and that, and I think he moved back to his native country. I do believe, and you could tell how much it meant to him, and that because he had, he basically cried his eyes out when he was, for the last game. But yeah, he was decent.
You guys also had Matthew Upson.
Upson, yeah, Matthew Upson as well.
And somewhere in Nasri, you guys had Moran Chamak.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, there was an era where basically players would go from Arsenal to West Ham because West Ham paid more than Fulham.
Yeah.
Essentially. Which is not necessarily the case.
Probably
and that's not slagging off West Ham. That's more pointing out that I know who owns Fulham and he's a fucking moron and he'll pay over the odds for anything.
No, look at Arsenal now.
I do have to say about
the Chelsea rejects
with Ben AZ Leeds. He's in his hot tub right now in Arizona.
I'm so jealous. No, sorry. Actually, I am jealous. I do the sarcasm thing. I fucked up. Let's do it. Let's rewind. Let's do it again, John. Do the thing again.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, Ian Wright and Winterburn. Yeah, both did well for us as well. Yeah, yeah. Damien's put in there. Jesus Christ, our recruitment was garbage for years. Yeah, we did sign some dross as well.
It's an interesting cast of characters, to be honest. It's like we develop talent or they've been hurt and they figured that West Ham is the closest club without, I guess, painful rival. You know what I mean? So, to me, I can appreciate that. They could have gotten to Chelsea, they could have gotten to Spurs, they could have gotten to anywhere else. But I think West Ham are a respectable club in the sense that have always had good support. they always carried themselves in a respectable manner. So, I don't hate the Hammers, right? So, there's clubs in London I can't stand. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
West Ham aren't a hateful club. They just aren't to me.
Right.
No.
Before we
no.
go, I found a list, right? I typed in top 10 West Ham flops. What I actually got instead was the 11 worst West Ham players of the 21st century. I'm going to read out these names and see if you recognise any of them. Obviously, Tony and his. I mean, Alonso will recognise some because there's some Arsenal players in here. Anyway,
Oh dear.
goalkeeper Roberto Jimenez.
Roberto, yeah.
He found himself in service for 8 inglorious games in 2019. Played so badly that third choice David Martin replaced him.
Yeah, he was shocked.
We're going to measure this by how far back Tony's head goes.
It's only going to get worse.
Oh.
You should probably put a mattress behind you or something just in case. Left back Pablo Armero, Colombian, described by head coach Sam Allardyce as stupid. Okay. Centre back Roger Johnson, a key player for Cardiff, Birmingham, and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Oh look, Debbie's back.
Yeah. We'll have him.
Roger Johnson. And one that I expect all of you to know is centre-back partner in this worst 11 for West Ham in the 21st century. So players in the 90s, you are not seeing Marco Boogers on this, which I'm almost certain you would. Gary Breen.
Gary Breen, yeah.
You owned Gary Breen in 2000. Oh, no, sorry. 2002, he played for Ireland. Before signing for West Ham, he allegedly agreed a deal with Inter Milan but failed the medical. And West Ham went, we'll have some of that. He's not fit enough to play in Serie A, the league where notoriously the slowest league in world football. But we'll have some of that. And right back in this terrible team, Rigobert Song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Remember that one.
Okay. The midfield, right? Kieran Dyer and Freddie Ljungberg.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think Kieran Dyer just about managed more game time than Freddie Ljungberg.
I love Tony's and
I remember these players, John. That's the worst part about it. And you actually see him play. That's the worst part.
Freddie Ljungberg, a legend for Arsenal, a total flop for West Ham. Despite being just 30 when he signed for the Hammers, it quickly became clear that he had very little left in the tank. He scored 2 goals in 28 games during his first and last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't help that Hammers had sunk serious high wages into his signing. It ended up costing them $6 million to terminate his contract after 12 months.
When did he join West Ham? Was it in 2007-8 season?
I have no idea. Doesn't say here. I personally don't know. That's probably what Alonso says. But yeah,
I think he was more in the stands than he was actually on the pitch. There's no age.
The other midfielder in this triumvirate of terror, Simone Zaza.
Oh no!
Most known for the penalty he missed in the Euro 2016 semi-final shootout for Italy against Germany. Incredible. It's the run-up. If I remember, the run-up made him look a right prick.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sort of run-up where you have to score or you're finished.
I think that's the
Anyway,
reason why we signed him, Mr. Tom, more than anything else. Just for that
you
alone.
signed him for 4.4 million apparently on loan from Juventus, which was set to become a permanent signing for 4 times that fee if he played enough games. He did not play enough games. He played 11 games with no goals. And then you benched him just to make sure you didn't have to buy him.
Yeah.
And the forwards, who do you think the forwards are going to be? There's 3 of them.
One of them is Marwan Shamak.
It's not. Shamak has not earned his way onto this list.
Mike Small?
It's not. I imagine it's more because of these players like international pedigree more than anything.
Oh God! But do we? No.
You spent 9 million on him in 2009 at 19 and unproven.
Danny?
Nope. Another one of them. He won the Champions League, and then you bought him, and then he didn't play like he'd won the Champions League. Bingo! Circle gets a square. Savio Encereco or Cereco. Savio Cereco. In 2012, he was bizarrely arrested by Thai police over allegations that he had attempted to extort money from his own father by faking his kidnapping, although he was never convicted. There's 2 more. Clue, one of them's quite recent. And the other one is from 2011.
Yeah.
His name rhymes with a large-breasted female who happened to do acting.
Yeah, we had the Brazilian Anderson.
It's not that one. It's not that Anderson. He's South African, and he won the Champions League, and he plays for Blackburn.
McCarthy.
Benny McCarthy, hence rhymes with Jenny McCarthy. And she happened to be a rather stacked lady. I'm sure she's
we kind of signed the kind of put on the timber McCarthy rather than the slim McCarthy that Blackburn had at the time.
That's true. It's true. And the final one, I'll give you a tasteless clue. I couldn't tell you anything about his bollocks right now. Probably shouldn't have said that. He's in remission. He won the AFCON, didn't he?
Oh, bloody hell. I know the player you're on about. I'm trying to remember his name there.
Hula? Sebastian Hula?
Correct. Haller. Or as the continental people say it, Haller. But
to me, I mean, Haller wasn't the problem. It was Moyes that was the problem with that. He was definitely.
I imagine, I could be wrong. I'm no tactical expert, but you buy a player that played in a 4-4-2 and then put him in a 5-4-1, and then you wonder why he producing. It's like, well, because you've not given him a strike partner.
Did the same with Skamaka as well. Did the same with Skamaka. And also look at them too. They moved on that and scoring goals for fun.
You can't buy players that play in 4-4-2 and then expect them to function in a 4-5-1.
Ramos did it with Spurs when he bought Darren Bent. Did exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've said worse things. Trip Vic. Is your name Trip or is it Vic?
We just say Trip Vic. I mean, there's one there from BX Gunner. How is Carlton Cole remembered at West Ham? I think if you look at it,
back to that.
He was, he still is an ambassador there now. He was quite a down to earth. He wore his heart on his sleeve. I know when he was, I think from Chelsea days, loaned out of Charlton, didn't really exactly do much there as well. I wouldn't say he was a prolific goal scorer, but his art was stuck into the game. So, you know.
Thank you.
But yeah,
because I saw something where like he's like your match day experience. Like you get to meet him, right? Like if you got the
wow.
I don't know what they call it, like my equivalent is they'll put like when I went to Ellen Road to watch Leeds versus Aston Villa in the Premier League, I got to meet Jermaine Beckford. So like your equivalent is like Colt, like ex-pro that played known for playing for the club. They get a nice little earner out of it.
Of course they do.
Get to meet people, like put on a smiling face, say hello, take a few pictures. It's a nice time. Nice time. That's what Colton Cole does these days, based on the fact that he identifies with West Ham as being one of the better times of his career, I imagine. Sorry, Director John.
Did you charge Jermaine to take a picture with you?
I considered it, but I would have felt guilty. I would have felt really upset walking up to my dad and saying that I charged my hero or his hero to take a picture of me.
To be fair, like I was a big fan of Charlton Cole when he was at West Ham. I think I told you this, Tony. Like he seemed like a proper guy, like a guy's guy, right? You want to hang out with and drink some pints with and all that. It's very proper, very, very humble. I don't know. It kind of stuck out to me when I first started watching Premier League.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Alonso. I think he's one of those where you could be, you go to a bar or a pub or whatever, and you could just sit down and just talk football. I think, he'll be on a level with you. He's that kind of character.
Speaking of people who crash into houses dressed as Santa, did you know Mikel Antonio on Christmas Day once crashed into the front of a house dressed as Santa? And the best part was he didn't say sorry to the person whose house he just fucking destroyed. He just got out of the car, dressed. The key part of this, he's still in his Santa outfit. I mean, I don't know why I say that. Like, he's supposed to get changed out of his. Like, that's not the important thing. Like, oh, sorry, I smashed the front of your house up. But I need to get changed out of my Santa outfit because as me looking like a prick right now is the most important thing here. But he didn't even say sorry to him. He got straight out, got on his phone, and was like, fucking, I need you to make this go away. It's like, what do you expect your agent to do, mate? Fucking rebuild the front of their house. Anyway, my apologies. Sorry, I couldn't help it. It's not often I get the opportunity to bring up like West Ham foibles that I'm all too aware of because of my brother. Anyway, genuine, like if you Google it, it's genuinely true. Crashed his Lamborghini into the front of a house on Christmas Day, 2019. For anyone,
I remember that.
Hey, Tom, while we're here, tell us some Nicholas Bentner jokes.
Lord Bentner.
Yeah.
My favourite thing that Bentner done was when basically Steve Bruce, I believe it was at, I can't remember what, I think it was at Birmingham. He's played for him twice. At Sunderland, at Birmingham, he brought him in on loan. And basically, because Nicholas Bentner obviously loved a drink or loved a pint or whatever, and basically, let's just say, for want of a better word, he loved spending time with a member of the opposite sex for company. And Steve Bruce thought he'd get the best out of him by going, you know what, you need to settle down with a nice woman. So he did. His daughter.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
He did the dirty on Steve Bruce's daughter. And this is how you know that there is no loyalty in football above winning more than anything. I imagine John going fucking go on, my son.
John endorses it.
Steve Bruce, despite the fact that Nicholas Bentner basically cheated, from what I can tell, cheated on his daughter, he still signed him when he was manager of Sunderland. He's like, I don't care if he scores 1,000 goals in the season. He should have chopped his fucking dick off. Is that too far?
Yeah, but didn't the Defoe go there as well?
I believe so.
Yeah, certainly. No, Stoke. Was it Stoke?
No.
not
I mean
Same.
with the daughter. That's what I meant. With not
Oh, right. Sorry.
with the
I mean, I'm
Sorry,
starting
Tony.
now you've said that, you're making me wonder, like, what does Steve Bruce's daughter look like? Because I want to see if she's worth the aggro. So yeah, I mean, I could do this outside of the show. Oh, fun enough, if into a search engine, let's say it's one that rhymes with a word like Rugal, basically, if you go on Rugal and type in Steve Bruce, it automatically fills in with Steve Bruce's daughter. So that's handy. Oh, hang on, sorry.
Ellie, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair actually. Amy Bruce is a solid citizen, let's just say. In fact, you kind of wonder how she came out of Cabbage Man.
Oh,
Very solid citizen. Very solid citizen. Sorry, Lolo's so going to ban me from this show. It's like you potentially had me sued about 9 times. It's like, yeah, but if you watched it properly, you'd realise it was 11 times.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
well played, John.
Allegedly. That's why he's the Doctor Director.
Doctor Direct.
I've turned something out of.
I sew up all of your mistakes.
And I'll make a lot of mistakes. How much Fred do you need, John, for the start of the show? But yeah, must be a lot. Remember Upton Park? I used to sit next to the dugout. Someone turned around to Steve Bruce and said, "You've been chasing parked cars again, Brucey."
He took it well.
He took it well. Poor old Brucey. Okay. I suppose we should probably knock it on the head. I've had a great time. If you've all had a great time, then that's just coincidence, because my enjoyment of it is actually the priority to me personally. But no, seriously, I'm glad if you. I know Trip Vic enjoyed it. He just seems like the sort of person who would enjoy things. Alonso, do you have a fun time?
It was a good time. It was good.
These international breaks are tough for like a show like this because you just got to reach for stuff to talk about. But you guys did a good job. You did a great job. Yeah,
I appreciate that, John.
Well, everybody
being praised by Caesar himself.
Everybody was great except for Alonso.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
I had a good time.
I don't know how he got in here, to be honest. Sorry, what?
I had a good time, Tom and Tony. You know, it was good being back. Sometimes my schedule doesn't allow me to have party talk, but it was good seeing you guys again. It's been a while, and thanks for everyone in the chat for keeping us busy. Even though I've been called pretty numerous times, you know, it's all good. Appreciate the banter between Chelsea, Tottenham, West Ham fans, even BX showed up. So yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
Right now, I believe Tony is going to speak with his agent and go, why'd you fucking get me booked on this shit? you told me there would be common sense.
Back, you know, it's been great to be back. Like Alonso, I've been off for a couple of weeks, and it's good to get back into things. And I've enjoyed this one as well. It's been random, which is good. You know, we've picked the bones out of many things, and as always, people in the chat help us along with this, and it's great having them with us as well.
Yeah, even though they're your fans, Tony, they're all right.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but no, it's good. Everybody was laughing. It wasn't a serious show. Yeah, even though there was a little bit of Arsenal talk.
Otherwise I get upset. But yeah, in all seriousness, I appreciate you both for spending your time on here on Friday night, which obviously, presumably, you're in England, Tony.
I'm indeed.
yeah, so obviously it's a commitment for yourself to still be on here at 2:17 a.m. And for Alonso, well, I imagine it is what 8 a.m. 8 p.m. Sorry.
It's 8:18 to be exact time, but still early. They'll be watching about hockey, so yeah, it's all good.
What game will you be watching?
Right now, it's Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Carolina Hurricanes, and after this, it's the Flyers and the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, obviously, we'd like to extend our congratulations to New York Rangers because Dr. Director John supports them, and I need to promote their virtue, or he bans me from the internet. But they did win 6-0, which I don't know much about hockey, but I imagine winning 6-0 in anything is quite good, other than American football.
It's quite an accomplishment.
A win is a win.
Hey, win's
Doesn't
a win.
matter what the score is.
Get the same points even for a 1-0. But
all right, Tom. You know your goodbyes are forever.
I need you to cut the show off. I need you to cut the show off, or I'll continue talking, or I'll continue threatening in the chat that I'll go for longer, or anything like that.
Even your goodbyes.
I said that to my wife once. She never believed me. Anyway, what?
No, nothing. All right.
All right.
Tell me when.
Director John, can you play us out in the next 5 seconds? Have a good night, everyone. Take care, Tony. Take care, Alonso. Take care, Damien, D'Amico. Blah, blah, blah. Have a good night.